Hello people, this is Ryder here to review the Ultraman Arc DX Arc Galaxer. Yeah, kind of a weird name, but anyways, this is the, I guess I can't say a primary weapon that Arc gains when he utilizes the Galaxy armor, when I forget what those specific parts of the galaxy are called, but basically they form into this thing and such. So obviously we have Arc Galaxy on the right, we have how to use this thing, which I think is interesting. Again, I really do like how, as opposed to contrast with the box here, as this is primarily the Jack-esque purple, or the Jack-esque background, this one prioritizes the gold, and I think that's really cool. The top just tells you that you can use your other, you can load up to 3 art cubes in this thing. Tells you to move it up and down. Again, just reiterates to you which art cubes to use within this thing. And technically is a nice shot to show all 3 armors. And the back. We have the QR code for the PDF file. And again, just tells you how to use this thing and such. The bottom has all the cautions and warnings and tells you that this actually... Oh, that's tape. This actually is running on LR44s. That's actually interesting. I was going to say this thing needed batteries. Alright. So here we have the Arc Galaxer out of its packaging and such, to which this is a really nicely sized weapon. Like, Ultraman has always done a nice job at, like, making the roleplay weapons, like, decently sized, especially for, like, when they're, like, small, like, weapons like this and such. Obviously, it used to be because they were used within the Ultra space, but as we've known, Blazar and Arc have kind of minimized the Ultra space and such. So, but like, as you can tell from here, like, my hand, like, fits really well in this thing. Like, you get a lot of space for, like, holding this and such. And honestly, handling it, it definitely feels a lot similar to the Belly Rock, especially with the button back here and such, and just, you know, just how this entire thing's positioned, to the point, like, you can flip it up, and it still, like, feels really nice. Just slashing like this, even though that's not the way this works. But as you can tell from here, the base of this toy is this nice deep purple. It is purple, I apologize if it doesn't come off as such. We have this one pane of silver right here, and then most of it's just blue plastic, and most of the body is just this blue plastic that's actually like a bit more darker than the Luna armor cube. And then this is the battery compartment. No pull tab or anything because it does have an on and off switch, which it's actually a personalized on and off switch, which is actually pretty nice. The trans stamps feel kind of wonky on this because I don't know why it's formatted like that. You need this hole because you need it to poke your finger out. Obviously, this is where you're gonna slide the cubes in. And then you have the blade right here, which is in this. Oh man, what is this from? The heck? What did I scratch? Huh? I didn't realize this. I don't think it was like this in the demo. Can I don't remember where the silver paint came from. Did it come from the Arc Guy sword? I don't know. know. Anyways, I guess we would just have to leave it like that. Because I was gonna say, like, there's paint inside the blade, which is pretty cool. I like this darker pink and such. Because this is more like it's not magenta, but it's close to it. And the speaker is down here and such. So, obviously, I'm trying to figure out how to frame this thing and such. But let's switch it on like so. So obviously, the Arc Galaxer is comprised of the 4 galaxy feathers and such, which is why there's 4 of them. And now, this is kind of weird. This is basically like the Rube Slugger, where this works off of motion. So we have 3 attacks. Oops. So, like, you just simply... It's kind of like horizontal or vertical. Oops. As long as you wiggle it. And then you can press the trigger for 2 additional attacks. And yeah, that's basically it. Because then the last thing you get is from when you hold the button down, like so. Which, at this point, it puts it in a standby phase. And you can't... It disables the motion. And you can press it again. And yeah, obviously, this thing's gonna keep making sounds, but holding this down is obviously for the Arc Cubes. So obviously, we will get our Galaxy Armor Arc Cube and activate it right away. Now we want to hold the button down. Now, the way you want to insert the cube is that you want to make sure, you want to make the track face back here, because there's an IR sensor. And as you can tell from here, there's an entire track system within, there's an entire track system in the Arc Galaxer, which then actually utilizes these slits within the Arc Cube and such. And so, obviously you can load up to 3, but this one we only just load up. We will gradually load it up and such. So you want to insert it in this slot like so, and then slide it up completely to the top, because you want to press this button down. And then simply, there's 2 notches right there, so you want to click it through each one like so. And then press the button. So there's the first attack for the Galaxer. I did not read what each attack is supposed to be, because it does tell you, but I did not do my research. And to remove the cube, you want to again slide it out these 2 notches, and then you want to press this button on the side to push it and slide it out. This time we'll pull the Soulless Armor to do the second attack. We don't need to keep activating this just as long as it's awake. Also, however, you have to keep holding this button down to put it in this phase. So then you take the Soulless Armor Cube and load it into this slot. So then you get the second standby. And then, obviously, you push this one down and then press this to eject the two. And then, last but not least, load in these two cubes, but then take the Luna Armor Cube and load it into the last slot. And then is the third standby. And there we have there are all three finishers of the Galaxer. And as you can tell, even with the cube loaded in, it just kind of ignores it and just goes back into its normal mode until you pull the cubes out like so. Because literally the way it works is that if you were to insert a cube in right away, it just does the ejection sound and such. So even if you were to press this, it won't trigger this because it's specifically programmed to only work when this is held down and such. So let's do the Soulless Armor finisher. Obviously, which is just by loading Soulless in first. Then Luna. And Galaxy. Which we didn't do correctly because we didn't activate Soulless. So you can literally just pull them out. Galaxy went to sleep. So there's the Soulless finisher. And now this one's gonna go to sleep, but now Luna's. But this is the only one I know because he shoots an arrow with this one. Loading Luna, then Soulless, then Galaxy. Obviously in the show, this is not a manual. Obviously all of this between the cubes, they're not manual load-ins. They are all sentient based to weirdly word it and such. And just to kind of put this, because again, this went to sleep. If I were to, first of all, actually activate it. It doesn't matter. I don't think doing that actually wakes this up. And also, obviously, the reason why, obviously because the sensor is here and such, so obviously you need to face it this way so that the portrait is out. But if you were to basically have the button side on the left, it doesn't do anything. Nothing will react, basically. And one last fun one I wanted to do is of... Oops. Let's do the Arc Cube. This is Gashapon Arc and Candy Toy Arc. Which, this really does put out a really interesting silhouette, for sure. There's... okay. I don't know what it's trying to do. And for anyone curious, if we were to do, for example, Maga Arc, and then New Generation Cube, it won't do anything because these cubes do not have electronics, so they won't add anything to the... Jeez, that flew. Oh, it's behind me. But like obviously they don't have sounds of their own, so they won't add onto the finisher sounds and such, because that's what I was trying to get to, of where it's really interesting that the Arc Cubes do add on to the finishers to this toy. I think another Ultraman toy did that too. But I'll get more into that into my final thoughts of this. So, what I think about the Arc Galaxer, it is a pretty fun weapon. It is a fun final strongest form weapon and such. It's on par of like how every time all of these Ultraman weapons have up to 3 finishers, unless you're the Zet Lance Arrow. Again, I think I'll say this right away. I don't know if the motion sensor was really necessary. I think we could have just gotten... I think we could have just... like, there's literally a button right there, and it's obviously mainly there for finishers and such, but it's like, I don't know, like the Roop Slugger Lance at least... No, the Roop Slugger at least didn't have that, so then you actually had to utilize the motion sensor, like the motion activations for that thing. But like, I don't know, with this toy is just like, I mean, yeah, I guess it's cool that you get 5 different sound effects, because like I assume the button sounds are for like blasting the feathers and such, and loading in the cubes is fun and such. And it's really cool that this thing actually does add onto features for the DX cubes. But then that means your other cubes are kind of rendered useless because they don't have that sensor, so you can't really do as much sound combinations. Like, yes, it is cool in a way that each of the DX cubes have up to 3 finisher variations and such, because the sounds that these play are just of them exhausting. For example, I'll try showing off galaxies and such, because you can actually be these ones are easier to like hear individually. Because then all you simply have to do is just simply... Well, I mean, I never turn it off, but... That is a trick, because these ones don't have to stay... The IR sensor doesn't need to be, like, completely, like, on it. Like, it doesn't need to stay on. But it just needs to at least interact with it. But, like, especially because, like, again, for my... I don't think we had sound rips of this series. Yeah, so, like, they're very subtle, which I don't mind at all. But I do like that they're still, like, new sounds. That one did not work. I turned it off too early. Yeah, so again, it's just like, it's very subtle, but like, I do like that. I do like sound gimmicks where there's a sound that, like, we just never really expected coming out of them, but I feel like there's... I don't know what other gimmick I'm trying to think of, because I think most of the time, like, they're just kind of unused. I want to say progress keys, but, like, progress keys actually utilize, like, in the something of, like, it's very, like, minimum, but, like, it's still, like, something and such. So, yeah, this toy, surprisingly, I think is actually enjoyable and such, which I wasn't really expecting and such. Now, right now, it's kind of really up to you if you think it's worth the $50 it's selling for. Basically, it sells for less than the Arc sword, but that's just because it can't necessarily read all the cubes. It interacts with the cubes, but like I said before, this toy really only benefits the DX cubes, to which at this point, it's only just of Arc. So, you're not really gonna get, like, too much wow factor out of this. Though, obviously, if you do enjoy the DX Arc cubes, I think this is a nice pickup alongside, like, the the Arc sword. Like, I think either way, I think the Arc sword is just a bit more fun and such in terms of sound variety and such, and also literally because it can read all the other non-DX cubes and such. But if you want something a bit more interesting play-wise, then you can probably go for this one. Like, yeah, I should probably say this too. Loading in the cubes is kind of a hassle because you're fighting against these. Is this okay? You're fighting against this and such. Like, there's just a lot of things you're kind of fighting against to just have a really smooth process of first actually loading it in correctly and then sliding it in and then just, you know, going on from there. And then you have to hold this down, push this in, and then one by one take them out. It definitely is a chore, but at the same time, I should bring this up too. For some reason, if you just happen to get this thing by itself. Like, let's say, for example, you mistakenly did not realize you did not get the set version of this, which I will say I don't recommend for you to get the set version because for some reason it's box-wise larger, despite the fact all they had to do was just simply add this thing in. So now you have more wasted plastic space, but if you do not own any additional art cubes, you can literally cheat this by holding this in and then holding in the eject button. Because what they did with this toy is that the insert button and the eject button are one of the same. So, technically, obviously, as an illusion, this is supposed to be the eject sound. And holding this in, this is supposed to be the insertion sound. But obviously, I guess it was easier just to program these two being one of the same. So it's really weird, but honestly, it is a really easy way of just getting through those sounds. Like, just, okay. You know, I don't want to load in another one. Press it in again, and then just simply load it out and such. Admittedly, I think I kind of wish it wasn't so brash about how you load it in, because like I just hate when there's like something holding up my, like, getting in the way of me just getting this out and such. But I mean, I get it. It's for the sake of securing the cube in and such. Which again, it's really secured in, so I can't really fault them for that and such. So I think that'll have to do with this review. It felt like, I don't know, I sound indecisive. Like, I think this is a fun toy if you enjoy the DX cubes. So basically, if you're gonna fully get yourself into the premium line, this is a really good toy.